The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 29th day of July, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamel Hartman, and I am here alone today. Happy Cup Match Week, everybody. Happy Cup Match Monday. How's everyone feeling? This is like the shortest week in the calendar year for Bermudians. You all probably stopped working at 5 p.m. last week, didn't you? Be honest, audience. Your boss ain't watching. Well, I can't promise that, but you all are not doing any work this week, are you? You all down tools at 5 p.m. last week because, as Kathy Rogers says right here, it's cup match time in Bermuda. Yeah, I believe it. You all ain't doing nothing. This is the shortest work week on the calendar year in Bermuda. I know some people saying, no, but Christmas holiday, I don't know. Bermudians love them some cup match. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome, forever, true day, Jamel. Yeah, she's St. George's fan. Monica Dunson, what's up, Monica? We haven't seen you in a while. She's got her St. George's colors saying morning. You know what I love about this show? We have more St. George's fans showing up than Somerset fans after 4 years of doing this show. And it tells me something. Honestly, folks, something is in the air. Something is in the air. No, listen to me. Something's in the air. St. George's, I really believe this is finally the year that Somerset fans will go back to where they were in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, you know how you didn't know a Somerset fan? You couldn't even find one? That's what's about to happen. I think I'm loving what we saw. So anyway, happy Monday, happy Cup Match Week to you all. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome President of St. George's Cricket Club, Mishael Paynter, coming on. We're going to be discussing all things Cup Match, the daily play. Well, we're going to do more Cup Match trivia with you today. And don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Well, by a show of hands, how many of you watched Cup Match Selection Night on Saturday? How many of you were able to watch Cup Match Selection Night? Awesome coverage there. Really appreciate what I really loved. I'm gonna be honest with you. What I really enjoyed about Cup Match Selection Night on Saturday was the fact that both presidents were present, but also both immediate past presidents, Neil Paynter and Vashon Blanchett, were also present and spoke to the people at the grounds, both Takesha and Sancho. So I really loved the fact that they stayed involved in some respect and around their clubs. So that was really cool. Enjoyed talking to the players, Malachi Jones, Trey Mendes, both players whose fathers actually played for Somerset Cricket Club. We also got to speak with St. George's captain, Anias Bascom, vice captain, Delray Rollins. So it was a fun evening, but did anyone watch? Yes or no? Did you get to watch Cup Match Selection Night on Saturday? Did you get to watch and did you enjoy it? I mean, it was funny. I'll just share this with you before we get into today's conversation. That the win went out of Lionel Cann and I's sails when they named St. George's team. Not that we weren't happy, because I actually like the direction that St. George's is going in terms of, some young, hungry players. And people forget Somerset did the same pretty much in the mid to late 2000s, and it's over time it paid off for them, right? But the wind went out of my sails because two players that I would have loved to see, and Father Time does his thing, but Alan Douglas and OJ Pitcher, I had them getting in that team, and I understand that there are some other players that maybe have warranted a spot, but yeah, I'll get over it. And again, I'm pretty sure, I can't speak for him, but OJ and Allen probably understand. And hopefully it's not the last time we see them in the Classic. Hopefully next year they have some pretty good knocks during the season, and if they can contribute to St. George's, they can do it. Up in Somerset, looks like no Chris Douglas, who for me was one of the most special batsmen I've seen in recent years. So it'll be interesting to see if the Colts coming through. I think Jamal Proctor can step up to the plate and deliver what Chris Douglas has done for Somerset for years. But how about it? Anyone check Cup Match Selection Night on Saturday? We've got some disrespectful people in the audience with these red and blue colors. Sherry Vanderpool sharing her Cup Match colors. And Manuela John says, yep, she watched most of it. Somerset folks right there. We appreciate Somerset folks supporting. And Monica Johnson said, yeah, OJ Pitcher and Allen as well as McGowan. Actually, is interesting because, again, I haven't followed cricket up. We don't have the pleasure of watching it online, but I would have thought that McGowan, the captain of Cleveland County, might have gotten in over maybe an additional bet like Mackay Simmons. So it's pretty. I mean, look, at the end of the day, here's the crazy thing. No matter who was selected, we would have always had questions about who wasn't, So we just got to trust that both teams are putting out the best players because of their ability to do a job and entertain the public on Cup Match. Selena Simon says cricket is played on the field. It's never a dull moment. I'm expecting excitement. Absolutely. It's on that day on the field, Selena. So looking forward to it. And Selena, not sure if you did, but you did win a ticket the other night. Hopefully you sent an email to the email provided on Saturday night. Renee Simmons says, yes, I did watch. She was tuned in. Shanna Smith says, yes, watch the whole thing. You guys did an excellent job. Thank you very much, Shanna. Appreciate that. And let's get to today's question, though. Folks, share your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the Cup Match teams? What are your thoughts on the Cup Match teams? But before we do that, so in the US with like some of the All-Star games, they actually have fan voting, right? So the fans vote for the starters, and then coaches select, like in the NBA in particular, coaches select the players for the bench, like the reserves. Here's a fascinating question for you this morning. Fascinating. I know the clubs won't go for it, but it's worth a question. Would you support fans voting for players for your Cup Match team? Would you support fans voting for players for your Cup Match team? What are your thoughts on that? Would you support fans voting in players for your Cup Match team? Yes or no? Would you support fans voting in players for your Cup Match team? Yes or no? Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, ain't nothing getting done this week besides St. George's taking our cup back. Absolutely, Charles. I mean, look, something is getting done. It's a beat down up Somerset Cricket Club by St. George's Cricket Club. That's what is taking place. Angeline Butler, she said she watched Cup Match Selection Night. We appreciate you. Well, what are your thoughts, audience? Remember, we have President Paynter on today and President Scott tomorrow. Right? They can take it back to their members. I'm not sure their members will go for it, but what are your thoughts on fans supporting? Would you support fans voting in players for your Cup Match team? Like, if you had a vote, would you, maybe even just one player or even a reserve, would you support something? Now, again, folks, this is just brainstorming conversation. Don't take it too serious. And, if the clubs never do it, act like they promised to do something. Let's keep things in context, all right? But would you support something like that? It's different. No, it's not as extreme as people saying the game should be held at National Stadium or something like that. It's not that extreme. But what are your thoughts on something like that? Selena Simon says, fans voting? No, fans are not technical enough. Well, here's the thing. popularity never ends well, Selena. You see an American Idol, right? Popularity doesn't equate to being the best person or best contestant or best player. So I get that. A lot of people don't have an understanding of it. They'll probably just vote for who they like. So I take that point. Renee Simmons says it will possibly bring some excitement, but I think the administration should have the last say. I agree. I think, again, I love the idea of it, fans voting, but I think it should always come down to the members, administration, and selectors. I'm a big fan of that. Philip Trott says, no to fan voting. Most people, myself included, don't watch enough cricket to make an informed decision. Absolutely, Phil. I get it. I'm one. Monica Johnson says, I feel like people would vote for their friends without considering the tactics of the whole team selection. Yeah. Shanna Smith says, no to fans voting. People will pick who they like. I'm aligned. Charles H. Jeffers II says, I think for reserve, it might be okay. Well, I think we're all aligned. I think we all agree in terms of it's probably not a good idea, right? I know in the US, you have to be like a registered Democrat or registered Republican in terms of voting in their primaries, right? To see who's going to be the thing. The thing about fans voting is it would be too much to manage. What do I mean by that? So if I'm a St. George's fan and you allow me a vote and it's just open, you think I'm not going to vote for someone who has played poorly for Somerset for years? So how would you monitor? It's just, it seems like it'll be too much, but I like the idea of at least having fans voting, not necessarily for the decision, but just to have an idea of who the fans want to see in cup match, if that makes sense. So I like fans voting. So who do you want to see in cup match? Like let's put it like this, audience. Put one player that you would like to see in cup match, whether they've been picked or not for this year, audience. Let us know one player that you would like to see in cup match, whether they were picked this year or not. Like for me, I would have loved to have seen, and the president knows this from the other night, I don't know, OJ and Allen. And again, Father Time, I'm not complaining about them being omitted. I just thought that two experienced people would have, I would have loved to have them involved, right? That my reasoning is what they've done in the past, but times change, we move forward, right? But those two players, I would have voted for one of them if I had one vote. I would have voted for one of them, for instance. But who's a player that you would have voted for? Shanna Smith says McKee McGowan, and he's the captain of Cleveland County. A lot of people have mentioned his name from the other night. A lot of people have mentioned his name. Greg Mabry says Renee Simmons. I don't even believe he was in the trials for Somerset this year. I know he was dropped last year and he wasn't. Is he injured? I mean, maybe we can ask Richard Scott when he comes on tomorrow, his status, Greg Mabry. Philip Trott says also the players are selected based on team strategy. There's no way for fans to know what the strategy is when voting. Well, Phil, I think I can believe that now, but for years, people thought that teams were picked based on, who people liked. But I definitely think strategy plays a key. But what are your thoughts, audience? And happy Cup Match Week to everybody. Is everyone excited for Cup Match this year? Like, how are you feeling? Like, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm ready. I really, really do think, and I say this in the most unbiased way, I think this year will be one of the most competitive matches. I don't know who's going to win. I don't even want to predict that, but I do think that this year will be one of the most competitive cup matches. I was talking about my boy the other night, saying how he said, yeah, man, I think St. George's could get a respectable draw this year. What? But I get his point. His point is that St. George's has not really been as competitive in recent years. And if an honest fan, you will agree with that. But I'm really looking forward to a good game. I'm looking forward to a lot of hugs and love. Yeah, Cher has changed me, folks. I actually hug people a bit more, but just some love. Our community needs some love right now. So St. George's, just give me something to smile about. Don't stress me this year. Charles H. Jefferson II says, I want to see a 30-year-old Charlie Marshall this year. I don't think that's what you're looking for. Seva Paynter got her St. George's colors out there. Since Suzanne Ingham says no picking, the captain and team will know who is the best to put in there. One word of advice for St. George's team: take the advice of your captain. LH Wafers on that team. Come back with me. I come back with the cup. Sorry, the Red have had it a little too long. Go St. George's forever blue. All right. Seva Paynter says, I am happy with the team selection. Okay, she's happy with her team. Audience, are you, regardless of team, Somerset fans and Georgia fans, are you happy with your team? Like, what are your thoughts on your cup match team? What are your thoughts on your team? I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy with St. George's team. I love the fact that there are some good youngsters. I mean, Sancho was keeping me updated yesterday about Colt Cup match, and it's two Lukes. I don't want to say the wrong Luke, but one of the Lukes apparently had a dominant Berlin display. Was it 3 or 4 wickets and 1 over or something like that? I mean, I don't remember his last name, but he's a reserve for St. George's this year. And I think, people kept saying this weekend that St. George's have a very bright future. Now, that's not to say that Somerset doesn't. Somerset has ushered in a lot of good young players over the last few years, as players like Jacan, Stephen, with Chris Douglas out this year. They've ushered in a lot of, LJ Richardson, Dominic Sabir, I believe, made it this year. So, you still got Derek Brangman, who is a prime wicket taker. Malachi Jones is leading wicket taker of those still participating in cup match at 56, I believe. So it can be a very good cup match. Look, some stars will be born. So this is an opportunity for some new stars to be born. Marcus Scotland, Jared Richardson. All right, let's go to the audience. Luke, is it Horan or Horn? Yeah. Luke, looks like it could be very good. Desmond Crockle says this can be one of the most exciting games in recent times, looking at form players. Indeed, I said this the other night, and I mean this, folks. You know who I really want to have a good cup match? Of all the players in cup match, the one player that I want to have like a really good cup match, Aronde Bascom. He's the player that I don't know him personally, never met him, never had a conversation with him. But I take this, as I said the other night during cup match selection night, he has had so many critics over the years that he's been picked and he hasn't performed in cup match. The other night, as was said during cup match selection night, he's the leading Bermuda in league cricket in runs. But also, I learned this very early in my career. When you have critics, you can do a couple things. You can fold, right? Let them break you. Or you can answer your critics and respond by performing. And I think, I'm hopeful that he can go out there with no pressure, like it's a league cricket game, no pressure, and just perform. But I have high hopes for Aronde Bascom this year. I really want him to do well because there's nothing like being constantly criticized year after year. And you have an opportunity to shut people up. Go out there, do it, and bring that cup back down east. All right, let's go back to the audience. Yes, Luke Horan says, Seva Paynter said, took 6 wickets in 30 minutes. That's unbelievable, man. I wonder, is it too late to add him to the team now for somebody? Like, once the team's announced, that's it? Or we're just going to, wait until next year when we have our cup back already, when we defend it on home field down in St. George's. Is that what we're going to do? Let's go back to the audience. Desmond Crockle says the Bascoms won't stop playing until St. George's win that cup back. It's in them to fight for St. George's. I appreciate that fight, man. I appreciate that. Kathy Rogers says, I agree, Jay, reference to Aronde Bascom. He deserves a good game. Honestly, I do, man. I do. Literally, I love to see people prove others wrong. I'm a person who's received so much criticism in my life, so I get it. But you just got to keep pushing and keep winning and keep fighting. If this is what you want to do, you got to keep fighting. So I hope that Aronde goes out there and fights. Seriously. I don't know if you all know him, but give him some advice. Give him some positive words. Surround him with love over the next few days, because I'm telling you, people want to see him fail. They don't want to see him make runs. And I'm sure I speak for Somerset fans too. We want to see a great game of cricket. We want to see a great game of cricket. So, yeah. Selena Simon says he's a reserve, so he'll be able to field out. Speaking about Luke Haran, he's there. Look, man, I'm excited for St. George's. I'm excited for a cup match. Period. I'm excited to see Somerset's Colts, Jamal Proctor. I want to see him playing. My concern though, although there's no Chris Douglas, there's still Dion Stovall. As I said the other night, I've never seen someone cover the wicket like Dion Stovall, man. One of the best. I mean, I think Jason Ford said the other night that he has the opportunity to hit 3 centuries in a row. Anyway, folks, it's time for the Daily Hour News Break. We've got Mishael Paynter, president of St. George's, coming up. So make sure you share the link with your friends, family, colleagues. Got any questions for the president of St. George's Cricket Club? Make sure you put them in the comments. We also have president of Somerset Cricket Club, Richard Scott, coming up on Wednesday and on Tuesday, tomorrow. And on Wednesday, put your collars on, brush your teeth, brush your hair, and wash your face, because you will all be allowed to come in studio, right? Yeah, we did that the first year. Remember, you'll be able to come in studio to talk about cup match with me. So, again, yeah, I know I can't smell your breath. Brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It's for you, not me. I don't want that hitting you back in your face. All right, let's do the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. All right, folks, this is the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Just going to read, we did get a message early hours of this morning, about 3 o'clock this morning, that shortly before 12:45 a.m. This morning, Monday the 29th, police and emergency service vehicles and personnel were dispatched to a reported single vehicle road traffic collision involving a motorbike near the junction of West Park Lane and North Shore Road, Pembroke. Details are limited at this time. However, it was reported that the motorcycle rider, a 30-year-old male, sustained a possible head injury and was unresponsive. He was attended to at the scene by emergency medical technicians before being conveyed by ambulance to King Edward Memorial Hospital for further treatment of his injuries. The roadway was closed to vehicular traffic for just under 2 hours while the collision scene was processed. An investigation into the incident is underway, and anyone with information is asked to contact the police number at 295-0011. You may also call 211 or provide the information via the police community reporting portal. Folks, again, this is Cup Match Week. We encourage you to take your time on Bermuda's roads, and we're wishing that rider a speedy recovery. In other news, police gave an update on the murder investigation regarding Rizai Garland and Eamon Robinson. On Thursday, July 25th, 2024, the Bermuda Police Service Serious Crime Unit, supported by the Criminal Investigation, Gang Targeting, and Police Support Units, executed 2 warrants in the Sands Parish area. 2 male suspects were arrested in connection with the ongoing investigations into the murders of Rizai Garland and Eamon Robinson. Detective Superintendent Sherwin Joseph of the Crime Division stated, "Our officers continue to work tirelessly to progress these serious matters. However, we need the continued support of our community. We're once again appealing for anyone with information to please contact the Senior Investigating Officer, Detective Sergeant Anika Donawa, on 717-2250 or via email at adonawa@bps.bm. You may also call the independent and confidential Crime Stoppers number 800-8477. Alternatively, please share any information you may have with a police officer that you know. No further information will be provided at this time." Again, if you have any information on that or any other of the serious crimes and murders that the police are trying to solve, please just reach out and support these families that are still mourning. In other news, we've been talking about it this morning, and we have the presidents on. It is Cup Match Week in Bermuda, and here's the update on your Cup Match teams. The teams have been selected for Cup Match 2024, and there were some surprises, omissions, and some brand new faces, as well as some recalls. The challengers, St. George's, welcomed back quite a few players, including Aronde Bascom, who's the last captain to lead St. George's to victory, Nazari Paynter, Jonte Smith, as well as welcoming 4 new Colts: Marcus Scotland, Jared Richardson, Kevon Fubler, and Luke Fulton. The champion Somerset also made a few changes with former captain Jordan De Silva no longer available. There was always going to be that spot up for grabs. But they are welcoming 2 Colts in Dominic Sabir and Jamal Proctor. The Cop Match Classic takes place at Somerset Cricket Club this year, with St. George's looking to win for the first time since 2011. All right, Cop Match teams are there. Folks, bragging rights, put your collars on. It's Cop Match Week in Bermuda. If you'd like to know what the weather is, I'll tell you, just stick your head outside if you haven't already. Look up and just feel. Let me know what the weather is like today. All right, days of the year. Here's a fun one for you. It's in the US, it's National Chicken Wing Day. So the question of the morning is, are you a flats person or a drum person with your wings? Do you like flats or drums? Please. This is going to determine whether I ever have wings with any of you, but are you flats or drums? I'm a drums person. I can't go eat wings with you if you're a drums person. You have to be a flats person because it's about balance. But what is your favorite wing piece, folks? Drum or flats? In honor of National Wing Day here in the United States, what's your wing spot? What's your part of the wing that you enjoy? See? We could hang out, Sam. We could hang out flats all day. That's balance. That's what I'm talking about. How about anybody else? Anybody else? I'm a drum person. You can have all the flats. Charles, we weren't hanging out have wings then. You know, you can steal my drums. Anybody else? Anybody? What you got? See, showing that bell? Hit me up, cousin. We could go get some wings. Stacey Ann Brown, we are not hanging because you're going to be trying to take my drums. All right. Anybody else with flats? Who? I need some flats people. I need some people. By the way, if we go, you're treating me. Renee says, but Renee, you have to prefer one over the other, don't you? I mean, I'll eat both, but if you ask me, if I had to put a special order and they ask flats or drums, you can only have one. What you going to pick? Well, you know, before we go to break and bring Mishael Paynter in, I must say this. There's a conspiracy with chicken wings. I'll tell you what it is. She says, I want the whole wing. You think about it, folks. You go to a place and you order wings and they give you like 6 wings, right? You don't realize that you're really paying for 3 wings because they cut the wing in half. They cut it in half. You're getting the drum and then you're getting the flat. A chicken wing is the drum and flat together. I see your point, Manuela John. I see your point. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back with Mishael Paynter after this break. 2 minutes, 27 seconds. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
It took 14 days to build your business plan. 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job. 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community. We salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paul's dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in the president of St. George's Cricket Club, Mishael Paynter. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Greetings, sir, president.
Morning, Jamal. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. My team's ready to go. My youngsters performed very, very well yesterday. They fought right to the end. So if we continue that, all will bode well for us.
Well, you know what? Since you just mentioned the youngsters yesterday, because again, I was getting updates from Sancha yesterday, and I love me Sancha, so don't get mad at what I'm about to say, but I wasn't expecting Sancha to be at the game and telling me, giving me details, right? She's a busy lady. But yeah. Bro, I thought she was lying when she was telling me about this young fella's bowling performance.
Luke Horn, it was something to see. If you weren't there, you probably wouldn't believe it, but he took like 5 to 6 wickets for like 10 to 15 runs to claw the game away from Somerset. Pretty much, he by himself single-handedly took the bull by the horns and changed the game and bowled people. Bowled people. LBW probably one decision, but the rest were bowled. Yeah.
Really? But that's good. And is he only, like someone said, he's only 15?
Yeah, Luke's 15. He's a work academy student. So he's a part of the Workmen's regular cricket team.
Okay.
And is big on education. So his dad is actually the principal. Mr. Horns, the principal of Work Academy. So
okay, really
smart, bright kid, and really good athletically in football as well. So yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited. But before we jump into today's conversation, I had a crazy idea, and I just came up with it right before the show, or probably when the intro was playing. And I know you probably think it was ridiculous, but I asked a question this morning, Michelle. I asked, what are your thoughts on fans being able to vote? Right? How can we improve fan engagement? Now, again, that was just a crazy idea. Again, nothing I take serious or think should be a part of the selection committee. I think that people with knowledge of the game, the players, and as Phil said earlier in the comments, have an understanding of the club's strategy. Those are the people who should make the decisions. But I do think fan engagement could improve. What are some things outside of that can improve fan engagement?
Before I answer that question, what was the consensus?
Oh, everybody said no. Not one person said yes for fans voting. Which shocked me, because in Bermuda, people love to be involved, and they, how critical people usually are of the teams that select it. I thought they would want to say, but I don't think Bermudians trust each other enough to have fans vote, and I think it comes down to that.
Yeah, I think when you look at fan engagement, you look at stuff like if you go to an NBA, NFL game, and even an MLS game, right? You have giveaways, you have people, going up and down stores when there's breaks. You have stuff given away, you have signatures of players and stuff and autographs for the younger kids. And I think those things help to improve fan engagement as well as to grow the sport, right? Because at the same time you're giving something away, you're also promoting your own brand, because they're going to wear that stuff around. So that's how you increase fan engagement. You might give a little bit away, but you don't actually know what you're going to receive in the long term from that.
Indeed. I like that. And having worked in that space, that's something I would love to see. Like, for instance, I was Googling last night where I can find a St. George's flag, because when we win the cup on Friday, I want to be, running around the field with my flag hanging high. But hopefully, Mr. President, you can help me out with that by Friday.
Braun and Co. So Braun and Co. has our flags actually. So, and if you
Okay.
need one, then you can get one from St. George's Cricket Club throughout the week as well. So
I appreciate you, folks. Let's get our flags because we want to make sure that they look. St. George's win this cup this year. You ain't gonna hear the end of me. But let's jump into cup match in particular. A lot of people have opinions about the clubs, the way they're run. People just think money flows through the cup match clubs in particular. But I want you to kind of give an understanding, give the audience an idea of the role of the president of St. George's Cricket Club as it relates to cup match.
My role sits in this seat is to try to maintain the cultural and historical piece of that and not to try to evolve it into something that it is historically not. So there are people who want to see it change, but that in itself changes the essence of what cup match is. So our role and our responsibility from the Friendly Society is to actually protect cup match and the essence of what cup match is. And if somebody wants to create a morph or something different like the BSI, then they can go ahead and create something like that. But that's not going to be cup match.
Got you. And, one thing from the other night, cup match selection night, that really stood out to so many people was how different it felt this year at St. George's Cricket Club in particular. At St. George's Cricket Club. Last year, it was very different, right? But explain to us what was the difference between last year and this year in terms of, the team was named before Somerset's team. That doesn't seem normal based on recent years. What was the difference?
Different strategy and approach. A lot more collaboration with our selectors before the actual game, a lot more meetings where they did collaborate, a lot more sharing of information so that they have time to analyze things before it, so they have an idea of what they're trying to achieve. And in a sense, understanding what it might take for us to actually win this cup back, and then having that understanding and filling the role with the people that can possibly do that. Instead of going up there with 11 names, not understanding how we're looking to attack Somerset, and then trying to piece it together at the last minute. So a lot more strategy and thought into what it actually takes to do that and who can achieve those tasks.
Indeed. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for President Paynter, please send your comments and questions through. We'll get through as many as possible. I was speaking to Larry Marshall Jr. Yesterday as he was unable to do cup match selection night due to family commitments this year. But he has been saying for weeks, he's like, look, man, a lot of people who don't watch cricket just think this is Somerset's to lose. It's all Somerset. And he's like, Jamal, St. George's has a shot this year. He said that. And he said to me yesterday, he said, this year's game will come down to a couple of people, the spin bowlers, in particular, Derek Brangman, Delray Rollins, and the coach, Kevon Fubler. Can you speak to us about the spinners and the importance of bowling? Because everyone thinks cricket and they just think batting and runs. What the importance of those players in taking a coach like Kevon Fubler?
You just named those 3 left arm spinners that are going to play. So you didn't name any of the right arm off break bowlers, which is interesting from Larry. Larry, for everybody who doesn't know, Larry watches a lot of cricket and studies cricket. He loves cricket. So yeah, the left arm spinner generally would take the ball away from the right hander, which brings the opportunity for catches in play. I think all 3 of them are amazing bowlers. I take nothing away from Derek Brangman. I love him as a person. He's an amazing cricketer. Carries himself well. He trains hard. And the same goes for Delray, who's a former professional, and Kevon Fubler. We talked previously about the removal of the rule that locked in reserves for one side and stifled a lot of people's careers. So you see now a 30-year-old Kevon Fubler, who was once a reserve for Somerset Cricket Club, now playing for us. For me, Kevon is one of Bermuda's best cricketers. And, at times he has had his issues, but we gave him an opportunity. He decided to get a loan from Willicots, which is in Somerset for those that don't know. and to come to St. George's to play. So and we welcome him with open arms. He is a 3-point player, so he can bowl, he can bat, and he can field. And his heart is huge. He loves cricket, and he will fight to the end. So for me, once he came down there and we got to see him rekindle his love with cricket, it's boded very, very well. And like he changed our league team, which was performing very, very good, to a different notch and a different level. So he and himself, like he picked himself based on his performances.
I love to hear it, man. I love to hear it. And again, Larry loves cricket, like watches it all the time. So I listened to him yesterday, and I was like, okay, I'll have to write that down. Audience, again, if you have any questions or comments, send them through. Okay, you seem excited about this year going into Cup match.
Yeah.
Why are you so? Why do you feel good about the team your selectors have chosen for this year's Classic?
Nobody gives us a chance. Nobody believes that we are going to succeed, and that's a beautiful place to be in. Some people might not think so, but I think it is, because it gives you hope, it gives you opportunity, and our self-belief in ourselves. So I said it before, that my coach that I prefer to pick, and we picked for our league program the last couple of years, is Clay Smith, because he provides a level of confidence and self-belief in the players that is needed and necessary, we believe, to get us over the hump. That bravado that he carries himself with, but also that level of respect for the opposition and for the game itself.
Let's talk about Aronde Bascom. I said it on Cup match selection night, and I said it earlier this morning. He was the last man to captain St. George's to victory in 2011. I've never met him personally, don't know him, but I really want this brother to succeed. I want him to have one of the best Cup matches that people have ever seen. Why? Because I can relate to the criticism that he seems to get. And I don't know what kind of individual he is. Maybe he's taking it on and saying, you know what? People are right. I haven't performed in Cup match. Let me use this as inspiration to perform. Larry told me that he's the top run maker in league cricket this year. He's in great form. Speak to us about his importance in this team.
Aronde is essential in this team for his experience. So Aronde is a former Bermuda under-19 captain for, I believe, two tournaments for under-19s. He's a previous Cup match captain who, as a captain, never lost Cup match. So the year we actually lost Cup match, he was physically ill and couldn't come back, and we put Lionel Cam there, and from there we lost Cup match. He is probably one of the smartest cricketers that Bermuda has, and the pressure of Cup match is immense. Let's not get that. Let's not confuse that. But the last time we saw him in Cup match, I believe he got 46 runs down St. George's, 4 runs shy of his half century. And technically, he's beautiful to watch once he gets going. So without that pressure on him as the captain, we hope that, we can see his ability come to the forefront. And then hopefully, if his brother needs him, he's able to help his brother based on his actual cricket experience and knowledge, because he's a very, very smart cricketer, a very, very smart person, period. But most people don't engage with him or know him. They just base stuff off what they believe they know or hear. And they never even give him a chance, and they apply pressure on people, which is immense. Cup match is the pinnacle game in Bermuda. But for me, I believe he has grown so much over this last year, and I just want to see him to continue the success he's had in our league program.
Indeed. And I haven't watched much cricket in Bermuda, but just seeing him, when he has been available or when the teams are being selected, and the way people react to him is just, man, it's your time, Aronde. Go do it. Go do it. Karen Simmons has a question. She was asking, when did the rule change that a reserve is not locked into one team? I love it. It's about time, this evolution.
Hi, Miss Simmons. How are you? That changed this year. So myself and Richard Scott, along with the management and executive of St. George's and Summers Cricket Club, we generally meet. People probably don't know, we meet several times to arrange Cup match and operation stuff. And we realized that our sport was hindering people's growth. So we changed that this year.
Indeed. I love that. I absolutely love that. I'd love to see the they go a step further, but I understand that's not likely to happen. Meaning, if someone's play it for one team and they haven't been able to get back in, maybe a 5-year rule. After 5 years, they can probably attempt for the other. But that's just me thinking out loud. Yeah. I'm just saying, President. I'm just saying. I mean, there's some people that's been locked in after 1 year or something, and they can't come to St. George's.
Sammy Robinson.
How you knew that's what Sammy went up Somerset?
Yeah, he played Cold Cup match for St. George's, went up Somerset, did admirable, scored a lot of runs. And Somerset said, thank you. We got you for what we wanted.
Yeah. Kept him away from St. George's. Yep, that's my boy, my big brother, Sam. Let's talk about the Colts a bit. Well, before we get to the Colts, the emphasis on youth, right? You've got Marcus Scotland and Jarrett Richardson in particular that people seem very excited about. You've got Luke. It's two Lukes.
Luke Fulton is the Colt. Luke Horn will be the reserve.
Okay, so you got Luke Fulton in there as well. Speak to us about like the emphasis on youth at this time, at the expense of some veterans that have been basically guaranteed over the years.
What I would tell people who don't follow cricket on a regular basis is to go to Crick HQ. Crick HQ is the app that pretty much tracks all of the player information, the statistics for batting, bowling, and fielding, right? And if you were to look at Marcus Scotland and Jarrett Richardson's stats from when they came back from school in England to start playing here, they have probably two of the highest averages in Bermuda right now. So they're on fire. Like, they're in very, very good form. And in a sense, they picked themselves as well based on what they've achieved since they came back from university. So it bodes well for us. And also with that, some of the senior players haven't performed well. So they haven't accumulated the runs or have the average to make us say, okay, we have to really consider these guys and pick them before these youngsters who are performing better than them. So I give applause to those guys. And then you have Luke Fulton. Luke Fulton is almost like a breath of fresh air for us in terms of his consistency to hit the line and his lengths. And we gave him an opportunity just looking at what he's done. There is some feedback that, potentially he's too young to be able to handle the moment. But knowing Luke and his confidence and his ability in himself, I think he'll be perfectly fine in that environment.
Indeed. And with these Colts that have come in, along with Kevon Fabler, there's no Rodney Picnic Trot, obviously OJ Allen, and also Treadwell Gibbons. What do you feel that the team may be losing with the likes of those four players?
We lose a bit of experience in terms of those guys who have been immense for us. Essentially, OJ is, I love OJ Pitcher. I love all these guys. So you named people that I've grown up in my neighborhood in terms of Dougie and Rodney. OJ, who I look at as a mentor and somebody to learn from for the approach of the game. What we lose is their experience that they've had in World Cup cricket from OJ and under 19 tours from Rodney Trott and the rest of those guys, right? But what you also lose is people that are slowing down, whose eyesight might be waning, whose ability to move around the field might not be as sharp as some of these younger guys to cut off runs. So there are always pros and cons to both. And I think, again, Father Time, he's undefeated. And it happens. Any thoughts on, keeping them around at least? I mean, is there a plan to keep them around in any capacity as part of Coach Clay's team? Sure. That's something that we always wanted to do. So even someone like a George O'Brien, who we've been in discussions with, or OJ, a Sinclair Smith who's been injured. These guys want to be in and around our cup match team to pass on their knowledge and experience to these young players. And we encourage any former cup match player, captain, to come around and to give these guys their knowledge and experience, to pass it on in a sense, because to have knowledge and not pass it on is a very selfish act. So we want that from our former cup match players and captains to come and share their experiences to help these guys through the tough moments.
All righty. We've got a question. Michelle White, she's asking, St. George's has several cults, and I like seeing four listed. Describe these young people and what they are bringing without giving too many secrets.
What I would say is all four of the Colts are extremely confident people. They're going to be hard to shake. Their self-belief in themselves is amazing. Their technical ability is pretty much amazing. Both Jared and Marcus are wicket-keep batsmen, so we have to decide which one of the day will be behind the stumps. They're both technically very, very good. You have Kevin Fobler, who's a left-arm spinner. He's one of the what I consider true spinners on the island, who just isn't darting the ball in fast, who actually gives the ball a bit of loop, a little bit of drift, and allows himself to actually trick the batsman out. And then you have a young Luke Fulton, who runs in very, very hard and accurately and hits a spot. So for me, all four of them, sorry, let me not forget Kevin is steal a coat. I believe has played a cup match before, but he hasn't. Bring something different to our team, a bit of an edge that I think we've been missing, and hopefully they can help us to carry that over the line today. Not today, well, Thursday. Today is Monday.
It's cup match week, President. I got to ask you, though, again, you're focused on your club. I get that. But when you look at Somerset's team, I said it, one of the most special batsmen I've seen in recent times, Chris Douglas, he's not in that team, right? As you look as the opposing president, I know Lionel was saying at cup match selection that he's like, hey, look, no, Chris Douglas is a good thing, yeah, drop him. When you see players of that caliber being dropped, what do you tell your team? Do you say, oh, that doesn't matter, just focus on you? Or do you say, look, this is something to be pumped about, like we have momentum?
Obviously, our main focus is on ourselves and our execution. It does change slightly how we do approach it, because we would have been looking at how to potentially get him out twice. Take nothing away from Chris Douglas, probably one of Bermuda's best batsmen that we have. Scored many runs even against the West Indies select team before in the past. And so when you see them take somebody like him out, you sort of say, okay, we see what you're doing. You're trying to freshen up your team. So they've brought in a young Dominic Sabir and Jamal Proctor, who I'm extremely happy for Somerset from our league program sense, because these two guys have been, in a sense, carrying the league team and performing extremely well in the Premier League. And it's almost like it's time for them to start honoring their league players who are performing in the top 10 or top 15 in the island, instead of, picking players who only represent Somerset on 2 days. There are 365 days in the year. These guys literally, they've bled, they've sweated for Somerset Cricket Club, and then they've performed. So I'm glad that Somerset has, given their own players a chance for once.
It's interesting because St. George's has always been accused of only looking at home, while Somerset has treated it more like All-Star. But I see your point. Like, if they're paying their dues throughout the year, why not give them a shot? Let's talk about this. Karen Simmons makes a great point. She says Marcus Scotland is third generation St. George's Cup match cricketer. His granddad Rupert, and then his father Cleon. Legacy continues. I noticed a lot of legacy. You have the Bascom brothers that I would like to see them put on a performance like the Smith brothers, Clay and Wendell used to back in the day. But how important is it to ensure that you keep this legacy going with players who are talented and good enough to keep coming? You've got Jonte this year, whose father also played Clay Smith. But does that play a role in using that as inspiration? Look, Arande Anayash, your daddy Herbie, captain, he used to, he was dominant. Jonte, your father's done it. Like, is that part of like a strategy to inspire them, or are they their own people? You just say focus on your own journey and legacy.
I think they're their own people. I think if they focus on their own journey and legacy, it removes any pressure to perform to somebody else's ability in the past, right? But they are inspired by those people. So I think if you were to talk to a Marcus Scotland, he would say, yeah, I know my grandpa was Rupert Scotland and this is his stats. I know if you talk to Jonte, he will tell you, yeah, my dad did this, but okay, I'm going to do this. I have to create my own legacy, right? And it's from both ends. You have Derek Bringman, who's the son of Ricky Bringman. You have L.J. Richardson, who's the son's coach, Jeff Richardson. You have Malachi Jones, who's Erlen Jones' son, right? And then you have it all throughout both teams where that legacy does continue, where your father or grandfather has invested so much time into you, and then that time comes out. There's a theory of the 1,000-hour rule to be able to perform well, and generally people pour into their own family members to get them to perform to an extremely high level. And that skill set eventually comes out on the day.
Yeah, indeed. And so many players. Trey Mendes, father, former captain of Somerset as well. So it's so many. Well, let's wrap it up a bit. But you mentioned hope the other night during Cup Match Selection night. So many people have hope in St. George's this year. People feel a different energy. They feel like, there's a strategy, there's a plan, there's a way to, and this may not be the year St. George's wins, because again, we were talking about the other night, 2011, when St. George's beat Somerset. It was a closer game than people may remember. And then the next year, Somerset won, and they've had the cup since. But do you believe, obviously we want to win, but win or lose, this is a great step toward building something special like what Somerset's had over the last 10, 12 years?
Yeah, there has been a strategy involved in what we're doing, and I believe everything has a process. And if you have a plan and a process, and you have contingencies in that plan and process, that you'll be okay. So in the past, we have started to build that process. So for those that don't know, before I was the president, I was the vice president and the sports chairman for St. George's Cricket Club for 5 years. And so we've been building that strategy and process slowly and surely to close the gap on where we were with Somerset. And I have to give my hat out to Jacon Edness and Jeff Richardson of Somerset. They actually approached me, and they had a conversation with me, and they were like, we believe that you would be able to help this game to be better, to make it more competitive. And every time I get a chance to talk to Jeff, I talk to Jeff. I pick his brain. I pick anybody's brain really on cricket, because ultimately it's about promoting cup matches in George's and Somerset, but bigger than that, it's about improving cricket in Bermuda.
Indeed. What would you say to St. George's fans? Asked again, actually the other night, I'll ask you again, they're excited. What would you say to them regarding this year's Cup Match Classic?
There's a difference between a fan and a supporter. Somebody who supports you through thick and thin, good and bad. A fan supports you when you're doing well. For our supporters, I would say thank you for your continued support. For our fans, I would say to you, come on board and become a supporter. Understand what we're trying to achieve, and back us even if it doesn't go well. And there is hope and there is excitement in St. George's, because we've made some tweaks and some changes that's seen not just our cricket program, who's in first in the league, the Premier League, but also our football program make some slight tweaks where we've been successful. And so hopefully we can continue that level of success that we've had since pretty much March, right? And continue that on in everything that we do.
Indeed. Before you head out, last question is, what message would you say to the Bermudian people regarding Cup Match, the game, and just enjoying the holiday weekend?
What I would say is Cup Match was born from struggle. And it's a celebration of our emancipation, our freedom. There are several different forms of slavery. And what I ask is that we don't enslave ourselves mentally by fighting against each other from wherever we are on this island, and that we have a safe cup match where we do not lose any more of the precious lives that have been lost in the past, and that we come together, we unite, and we have a safe and a happy cup match. That's all I ask for.
Mishael Paynter, president of St. George's Cricket Club. Sir President, look forward to seeing you at the game and hopefully celebrating on Friday. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. That was Mishael Paynter, the president of St. George's Cricket Club. We're going to take a final break. We'll come back with some cup match trivia, give someone an opportunity to win this week's prize. So stick with us. Don't go anywhere. Back in 55 seconds.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Folks, do us a favor. Welcome back. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, BAC Group of Companies, and Lenders. Thanks again to Mishael Paynter, president of St. George's Cricket Club. But do us a favor. Take 1 minute. Cost you nothing, just nothing, wherever you're tuned in on. Like, love, subscribe, and share. Just do that right now. Like, love, subscribe, and share. All right. Thanks again. Really fantastic conversation and message with Mishael Paynter this morning. Don't forget, Richard Scott, president of Somerset Cricket Club, will be with us tomorrow. All right. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Now, well, the game show is available on bcgtv.com. And the game is available at stores throughout Bermuda, People's Pharmacy, Brown & Co., and more. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right. Easy question, audience. Someone will be eligible. Someone will be eligible. Here we go. Question is, St. George's Cricket Club initially hosted cup match games at what field? So Renee Simmons said RAA, which that's not the name of the field, right area. Camila Weeks said Garrison, which I believe she means Garrison, which she corrected the spelling afterwards. So audience, do we give it to Camila or do we give it to Charles, who said it right the second time? Garrison Field. Who do we give it to? Camila put Garrison first, but it's Garrison. Or do we give it to Charles, who spelled it correctly? You let us know, audience, Camila or Charles. Garrison Field. Who do we give it to? Do we give it to Camila or do we give it to Charles? Come on, this is a democracy. Let us know, audience. You all decide. I'm not getting in trouble with either Camila or, okay, Camila, give it to her, Charles says. Camila says, is anyone? Camila, send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com so that, well, you know what? We're going to give you something. We will give you something, Camila. You know what we're going to do? We're going to give you a ticket to the game. So send us an email at engage@thedailyhour.com. That's what we'll do. Every day this week, we'll give a ticket to the game. So Camila, you get your ticket. Just send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com for your ticket. All right, folks, I've got to get out of here. So I'm going to give you your daily inspiration. Quote, when you have something to say, silence is a lie, end quote. And that's Jordan B. Peterson. When you have something to say, silence is a lie. Jordan B. Peterson. Hey, folks, thank you so much again. Thank you once again. If you haven't already, make sure you like this show. So like it. Like if you're watching, just hit the like button, the love button, whatever platform you're on. Make sure you share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues. And yeah, it's been a good one. So don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. I am is out. It's cup match week, folks.